Good night, everyone. I hope you guys have been having an amazing day. As you can see, I'm very burnt. But that is not the subject of this video. The subject of this video is going to be Monster, the Erik and Lyle Menendez story. I just gotta say, I was expecting something very gruesome, very tough to process with the show, and it does kind of deliver on that aspect. I'll get more into that in a second. Obviously, there are spoilers, and this video is going to be a bit, I guess, tougher to make and tougher to hear. Because the story is very crazy and kind of like I don't remember if I rated the Dahmer show, but it kind of like how I feel about that one. Definitely hard to listen to, definitely hard to watch. So yeah, not for the faint of heart. If you don't like hearing about certain stories, then definitely click out of the video. I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but I will talk a bit about it because it is what the show is about. So just a little bit of a trigger warning right there. The Erik and Lyle Menendez story. They are two, I don't know, serial killers, psychopaths. They didn't really kill as many people. I don't know the literal definition of the word serial killer. But they are two psychopaths. They are brothers that killed their parents. And the show, it's very weird. Kind of like in the Jeffrey Dahmer show, the first episode is how they caught him, and then the rest of them are like things that he did leading up to that moment, and then he gets arrested. In this one, it's kind of like they do the thing. The first episode, they do the thing, and how they got caught with it, which is the therapist and everything that happened there. And then after that, it's them in prison explaining their side of the story, explaining certain things. And this show wasn't really too much about their crime, but basically trying to either justify the crime or paint them. It was so weird because you don't know if they're telling the truth or not. At the end of the day, they are still serving their life sentences, which it's very much earned, saying the things that they did to their parents, which was absolutely insane. And depending on how you hear the show, it's not really explained too well. The way that I understood it was that they were just lying their ass off in court, trying to get the best deal, trying to just not do any time. But the way I recognized it was that way. They try to go with a plea of they were abused, and so that gave them the right to be able to do these things. Kind of like in the case of Rose Blanchard, I think is her last name. The girl that got her boyfriend to kill her mom and then got released from prison because like the abuse that she sustained was very documented, and everything was it wasn't like he said she said type of thing. And of course the she said in this case is dead, so the dad isn't there to be able to defend himself with all the things that they say. So that's basically the vaguest way I can explain the show. I don't want to go into too much detail because there are some very graphic ideas and some very graphic scenes. And yeah, I would just like to say I'm kind of disappointed by the show. I expected more. Obviously they're terrible people, but with the Dahmer show, we got however many episodes of him doing these crimes and of him committing these atrocities. And this one was just one, and just showing really their mentality and how psychopathic they were, because you didn't really know who was in charge. At first, you think it was Lyle who was in charge. Who was the crazier one, the like meaner one. Like you could see it, and then Erik had his points where he was just a bit crazier. So what I've seen from the show, and what like it's a common thing in a lot of shows, is that they try to set up a lot of underlying messages. And something that I've seen, I'm not exactly aware of it. I've just seen a lot of backlash about it, and I wanted to talk a bit about it as the most important thing of this video that I'm making, because yeah, I can talk about the show, I can talk about the cinematography of it, I can talk about all of these things, but it's a solid show, like from Netflix. I didn't like it as much, but maybe someone that's into like all that morbid type of stuff will like it a lot more. For me, it was just very slow, very gruesome at some points with the explanations of it. Um, and so, what I was saying was, it was more about the underlying message because they try to hint something about homosexuality that I don't know if it's true. And out of all the sources that I could see, it wasn't exactly true. And they were trying to set that up as an underlying theme that his dad abused him because he was a homosexual. That is the best way I can understand why there's been this outrage, because a lot of people are saying, no, Erik Menendez isn't a homosexual, but in the show they clearly paint him as at least bisexual. And so there's a lot of that in this show where I don't really know how true a lot of these things were with the Dahmer show. There was no one refuting the evidence of it. There's a lot of people just saying like they did the show very well and they did his story very well. Although, however fucked up it may be, everything was as true as it was, um, and it got its point across very well. This one, I feel like they're trying to tell a lot of different stories and they're trying to do a lot of different things with it, and it doesn't land as well. And the other thing is they're just crazy. Like the entire family, at first they're painted in this light that they're just crazy as hell, hate each other, terrible, dysfunctional family. And then around the last few episodes, where like you get to see the parents a bit more and stuff like that, the parents are actually like, yes, they make their mistakes. The dad cheats. Dad is overall a lot more strict in his parenting. The mom is a drug addict. All these things, but you kind of like get across it, and it kind of like you see, yes, they have their flaws, but they were trying their best. And then you see these dudes that killed them, and it's like, wow, okay. And they paint them in this terrible light. And so a lot of the show to me is just super confusing because were their parents nice? Were they not? What type of dynamic did they have? What type, like, there's no direct correlation between a lot of things, and a lot of things that they said you couldn't even believe as much because it is in it the fact that they were what was it called, compulsive liars. They just lied about everything, and that's just the way that it worked for them. They were about to get released, but then they didn't, which was a very weird case. Obviously they murdered their parents, so they shouldn't have been released. But very weird case, very weirdly how it was shown. But I love how these shows have a lot of like, you look at like what actually happened, and I've seen a lot of videos on my For You page about it, what like actually happened in the court case and stuff like that, like how they reacted and stuff like that. And then it shows the actors, and it's the exact same thing. It is crazy how they do it. I love the fact that actors can do these things so incredibly well. And yeah, I think that the actors in the show do very well to play their characters. Their characters are very hard to play. Obviously, you do not want to put yourself in the mind of a psychopath, but they do very well, and I think that that's very commendable by them. But I do think that the show is just everywhere, and it is just it's very blunt, very graphic. There's one episode where Erik was explaining the abuse that he endured when he was a kid, and the entire episode was just him just there sitting in a prison cell for 40 minutes of him just talking about sexual abuse and all those types of things. It was hard to watch and very long to watch. There are certain episodes that I liked more than others. This show, it doesn't rank too high for me. I didn't enjoy it as much. I watched it more because I was interested in the story, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a video on it. But I lost the interest, like, just throughout. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Definitely interesting. The Dahmer story I recommend if you're into that morbid stuff. This one not really that much. Hopefully the next one does a bit better. The first like 2 episodes are good, and then the rest of them just kind of fall off. But yeah, I'd give it like a 4 maybe. Like I know that like my ideas aren't very connected, but it's 'cause I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything in the show, and I don't really think that I am, because the show isn't that interesting. Like, you watch the first 2 episodes and you already understand. You understand that they're not gonna get out of prison. Like, maybe the first two, and then the last one. Yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one. I'm trying to watch more shows, trying to do more stuff, so that's why like some of my uploads have been like pretty spaced out, because I've been like just crazily trying to watch stuff and trying to do stuff. But I'm gonna try to be a bit quicker with them. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.